All right, Wes, I got to ask you, where did you find this badass beard care company? Because this stuff is amazing.
It is amazing. Last time we were on, we just had the oil in. We'd just gotten the shipment that they gave us of stuff. I found them on Facebook, actually. I was just looking for a beard place. You know, me and you both had beards, so I was like, it kind of seems to make sense if we had a beard care place on board. I went through probably 20 different places, just looking through their company and seeing what they were about, how they were, when they were founded, and Badass Beard Care just really stood out. Being veteran owned, being all American made. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it, see how their product is. Beard oil was amazing. Put the beard balm in, worked really good. And then we tried the hog wash. And I'm like, I think my beard is twice as big now. The beard wash was amazing. I don't know what they put in it. It's like magic. It's amazing stuff.
It is amazing, and that was the part that blew me away, because I've tried different beard oils and everything else, and I'm pretty picky. I am pretty picky.
Yes, you are.
I don't like a lot of beard oils are sticky. It's not slimy. It's just sticky, and it's just like, God, I feel like I got maple syrup in there now. I feel like I've just been eating pancakes or something, and it's just horrible. And this stuff was really good. It's got a good, pleasant odor to it. You know what I mean? And it's just really good. But my God, I used the shampoo and and it was like, dear Lord, I'm pretty old. My hair's thin. My hair's pretty thin. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden it was like, oh, I got all this. And it was like my beard just felt like it was nice and full. And it just added all this to my hair. And it was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I did make one mistake. I used it on my pubes. And now I haven't been able to find that little thing down there ever since I did that. I'm talking. It worked really good on the hair. So, but it really is a fantastic product.
Yes, they are definitely top of the line. Like I'm glad I talked with them and got to know them a little better, and they decided to come on board, because Badass Beard Cares, they're legit.
So you can find them on Facebook then.
Yes,
Badass Beard Care, right there on Facebook.
Yep, on Facebook. They've got a website. You can buy their product.
That's awesome. Love to have them on board. We've had Leidendorf Law, we've had Crambo's and Roy Rogers Heating and Air and all that, but it was really cool to have them come on board, a product that we both use. And me, I'm not about to promote anything if I don't like it myself. Yeah. And so that's why I really wanted to try it before I said a whole lot. And once I tried it, I was like, I am sold on this.
Yes.
No, it's fantastic. All right, Wes, what you got going on for us tonight?
We have a really cool episode tonight. It is make sure I say this right, a Wally Award trophy here.
Well, if you say it wrong, you're going to get corrected later. Right?
Yeah, he'll be on here to say what it is. But no, we have Shakee. He is a pro street bike champion, drag race champion, and this episode is going to be really cool. He's got quite a story to tell. Quite
the story.
Yes.
All right, man. Without further adu, let's get Shakee on here. All right, Shakee, dude, I am so glad you're able to do this podcast with us.
Well,
man.
I am too, and like I said, I appreciate the email or the call, and I'm happy to do it. I really am.
Right on. Well, the way I get things started all the time, first question out, what do you ride?
Well, a little bit of everything. Here lately, it's been a 2010 Harley-Davidson Ultra Classic Limited. Still have the Hayabusa, but I pretty much turned that over to my wife, and she's going to terrorize the streets on that. So,
and that's what we're talking about. Just your street bike right now, not so much what you race. I mean, you have a pretty cool story to tell here. Do we start off with what we're looking at right here on the table?
It's the iconic NHRA Wally Trophy. During the racing season, the track puts out what they call National Dragster puts out Wally races where cars and motorcycles have a chance to actually win one of these things, and they're very special. You can't buy them. They're all handmade, and I was fortunate enough to win not one but a couple of them.
Wow!
And there's a story behind this one. This is the very first one. Me and a guy by the name of Pop Arthurs, well-known drag racer, done it for years. Me and him lined up in the final, and I was just starting out at the time, and he's been a veteran and has quite a few of them. And it ended up being a double red light. What that means is we both jumped the gun, but he jumped the light before I did, which gave me the win.
Huh.
So better lucky than good any day. So that's a little history behind that. And Pop's a great guy. He's retired, doing good. And everybody that's been around Raceway Park know mom and pop authors. Great people.
Dude, that's really cool. And you say these are handmade?
Correct. From what I understand, they're all handmade.
Wow. That's
I could be
cool.
wrong, but that's the story I got.
Hey, and that's the story we're sticking with.
All right.
I like that story. We're sticking with it. Hey, we're sitting. It's just you and I talking right here, so we can say whatever we want.
Okay.
No, that's really, really cool. So, let me just ask you this: how did you? What got you interested in motorcycles? I mean, and I know you race, but
right.
not even the race, not even what you're doing now, or what you were doing up until here just recently. I'm not saying you're old. I'm just saying you're not young. So that's just the way it is. But how'd you get started? I'm going to guess at a younger age.
Correct. I think my memory, I think my 8th birthday, my father got me a 1976 Honda Elsinore MR50, a little dirt bike, and I wore the backyard out in circles. And it all started there, and from there went up to 80 motocross bike, started racing motocross, went up to a 125, started racing motocross, got into technically the street bikes, and we would do a lot of street racing that wasn't too I didn't want to say
appreciated.
Well, it wasn't sanctioned, I'll just put it that way. So I figured, you know what, let's get off the street, get on the track where it's a lot safer, and take it from there. But we've had some times racing on the street, and I think a lot of us start out street racing and gambling, and then time the police get involved, it's not worth it. So.
Right. Right.
So.
No, I get that completely. I get it completely. So then you decided you wanted to keep, you obviously really like the drag racing, and you're like, what, sir. I want to continue doing this. And so you started pursuing it.
Mm-hmm.
And how does somebody get started? There's people that are going to be listening right now. They're going to say, how do I get started? I want to do this. Do you still have opportunities in today's day? Because I know you're talking quite a few years ago.
Correct.
Do they still have anything available for people?
Yes, it's not so much a school, but you could go out to Wild Wednesdays at IRP Lucas Oil Raceway, and they have where on Wednesday night, as long as you have the safety protection gear, you could take any kind of bike, anywhere from a 250 Ninja to a Harley to a Hayabusa, and you can run it down this track as long as you have the helmet, gloves, leather jacket, and boots. They will let you do that.
Wow. And you're talking about, I know a lot of people around here in the Indiana area has known it as IRP forever. It is
Correct.
Lucas Oil Raceway Park. We're talking about the Grand National, the big daddy of them all drag strip here in Indianapolis. And
Correct.
you get to ride your motorcycle on that.
Correct. On a Wednesday, you go there, and as long as you meet their criteria on safety and you pay your entry or whatever, you can definitely go down the same track as Antron Brown, John Force, and have a good old time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, and I know I've been fortunate enough to be able to go out there and do some steel horse stuff out there. To me, the history, and I always said that about even at IMS. You go into Indianapolis Motor Raceway or Motor Speedway, and you walk in there and you think about AJ Foyt and the Johnny Rutherfords and the all those guys. And when I just remember when I moved to Indiana back in the 80s, the first time I stepped in that track, it was just like, wow, you feel the history. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like you feel the history and almost the spirit of the people that have been there before you, and some of the greatest racers that have ever lived raced there. It's the same thing. When you go out to Lucas Oil Raceway and you go out there and you're standing there on that start-finish line. Now again, I've never done it where I'm sitting on my motorcycle. I'm not sitting on the seat of a motorcycle or anything. But to be able to stand out there and think, my God. You know, and I think of Bob Glidden, and I think of, you know, some of these names, like you said, John Force, and
Shirley Modownie.
Yes, I mean, you're thinking about the greatest racers in the world have been down this track. You get to do it. You've done it a lot. Do you still feel that when you go in there? Do you still feel that? Or is it like, what am I saying? Has it become too much like home for you to where you don't feel the nostalgia of it anymore? Or do you still kind of, do you ever get a goosebump? Does the wind ever blow just right where you're like, oh yeah?
As soon as you pull in that place, you got the little butterflies going and you're nervous. You're not, I don't care how many times you do it, you're going to be nervous. And then after that first pass down the track, you're like, come on, let's do it again. But that very first one, you're a nervous wreck. Of course, I'm nervous anyway. I shake anyway. But for the most part, you get butterflies, and I'm sure all your professional racers are the same way. I mean,
right?
Yeah,
it's just like anything else you do. I mean, if it's like to that, you know what you're doing. You know you're taking a risk every time you go try to do something like that.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, I always wonder about that. It's like, all right, now you've ran down, you've made, I don't know how many passes, but a ton of them, a bunch of passes down the track. And I always wonder, does it just become, it's just another track now, or is it still, my God, this is the granddaddy of them all right here.
Right, and the old saying, if you get comfortable and you don't let it, if it don't bother you, then you be careful because you're liable to get hurt. I mean, you always got to respect everything you do and respect the track, your bike, your car, whatever. And you know, you got to keep that respect on what you're doing, and especially like when you get down to the finals, it's really nerve-wracking because you went through 4, 5, 6 rounds, and here you are, one more, and you got it. So it's really, the pressure's really on you. But it's a fun sport. It's dangerous, but it's fun, and you know, you only live life once, and you just make the best of it.
I agree, and it's just the way it is. A lot of times, the funnest things we have, they are dangerous, but sometimes that's what makes them that much more fun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
It's just the way it is. So, going from riding motocross to going down a drag strip, there's not a lot of similarities between those two. However, have you ever reached back on anything that you learned from motocross riding? Is there anything that you can translate to the drag strip?
Oh yeah, you got throttle control, clutch control, that all plays in both sports. But the one thing about drag racing versus motocross, when you're jumping a double or a triple, you don't have the guy behind you jumping over top of you or running into you. Or you're pretty much your own boss there at the drag strip. Where at motocross, it's more of a fierce battle.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I was just thinking, you know, that's kind of that's a big wide spectrum right there to go from dirt track racing. So, but you do ride. You just said you've got a big ultra classic,
correct?
That you ride. So you do go out on the streets, and it's funny only because there's a lot of racers. They'll tell you, there's no way you'll ever get me out on a public street on a motorcycle.
Yeah. And I agree. It seems like it's more dangerous to take the Harley down to the store and back than it is go down the drag strip.
Right.
You don't have people cutting you off or pulling out in front of you, or just.
Well, you hope not anyway. I mean, every now and then. I mean, I've watched a lot of drag racing, and every now and then something does go wrong with one person, and he ends up over in the other guy's lane, and that ain't good. That doesn't usually end very well. Mm-hmm. How about you? Have you had any kind of close calls or on the track?
Yeah, unfortunately I have. I've had a real close one where about flipped over backwards, and heaven forbid, I do have it on camera, and I look at it every now and then how lucky I was, but it stood straight up and come back down, thank goodness. But a lot of guys especially this day and age on these roads, they got street bikes now that are super fast, and they'll stand up about half track and almost come out from under them, and it's crazy the way the technology's come about and how these bikes are so fast now. But yeah, you have some close calls, and it's things that happen in an instant. You hardly have time to even react.
Is that why you guys all wear leather? But that way when you pee your pants a little bit, nobody knows?
Yeah. You got to pick them out of places they end up you don't want.
Oh man, that's just, to me, that's just so wild. I just could not imagine going down the track like you guys do. Now, you're talking about the new motorcycles and everything. You don't ride a new motorcycle.
No,
Tell us a little bit about your race bike.
Well, my race bike is basically what you call an old school oil air-cooled Suzuki. It's got a turbo built bolt-on turbo kit, and it's nothing like the new bikes today. New bikes fuel injected, they're much bigger CCs, and my bike was competitive with back in the day, back in the early 90s, mid 90s. And
what exactly is it?
It's a 1990 GSXR 1100 Suzuki.
Okay.
And like I said, they would call old school racing. That's what everybody raced back in the day.
Right.
Back in the day, the old Suzukis are like the Hayabusas and ZX14s of today. They run all the, it was good back in the day. So I just keep the old girl going, and
That's the part I love. That's the part it really is. I get to go out there, and you're hopping on a 1990.
Exactly.
I mean, that's a few years old.
Yeah.
That's almost as old as my kids.
Yeah. And the technology, they're over there hooking up laptops, tuning their throttle or fuel injected, and I'm there with, I got a little old carburetor like back in the day, and it don't compete near as much with the guys, but it'll hold its own.
Right.
And a lot of times the rider plays a lot in it too. You can give somebody the fastest motorcycle, but getting it from point A to point B, they got to maneuver it and ride it.
What is the hardest part? Now, since you said that, is it timing the lights, or what is it? Is that just the tree, right? I mean, the tree of lights, or I don't know what you actually call it, but is it timing that to where you, obviously whoever gets the quickest jump, it's obviously going to help.
Right.
But then there's also, you gotta make sure your front wheel doesn't, like you said, you can't come all the way over with it. You got to go through the gears. You got to make sure you're tucked and everything. What is the hardest part? Is there a part of it that you're like, I'm good at this and this and this, but my God, I wish I could be better at that.
Well, it all starts out with the light. You got to cut a good light. If you always see a drag racing where the one lane cuts so many thousandths better than the other lane. Well, that gives you that much on the big end of the track. But it all plays a part together, because you got your light, then you got your first 60 foot. They call it 60 foot time. How fast can you go your first 60 feet? And then you also have clutch control. But like I said, on the newer bikes, they got all these slipping clutches and all kinds of ways they can tune their clutches. Where on the older bikes, you're limited to what you can tune and what you can't do. You more or less have to, what they call a good clutch hand, where your clutch hand's got to, you're not relying on a computer.
I was going to say, it's all up to
you. You got some more skill involved with the older stuff.
No, exactly.
But,
so what's your specialty? What are you best at?
Definitely not the lights, and all my friends will probably comment on that. But every now and then I'll just let it go and pull something. A squirrel gets a nut every now and then. But I just, there's not one thing that stands out. I about average on everything. I don't like to, and that turbo helps a lot too. It helps make up for your mistake.
Yeah.
When you make a mistake, that turbo is saying, let's go.
Right.
It does help out a bunch.
That's all right, man. That is all right. And now it's been a little while since you have been on the track, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so how often would you race? Like when you were in your heyday how often do you race?
Oh, when we did it, it would be the whole weekend. We'd load up and go out there on a Friday. We'd race. We'd probably test in two, maybe on Friday night. We'd race Saturday, stay out there or jot home and come right back for Sunday. And by the time Sunday evening was here, we're loading up and going home and getting a shower and go to work on Monday. But it usually a lot of 2-day events, but which start on a Friday evening or early evening.
Right.
Go out there and get everything loaded or unloaded and set up, but that was a heyday. And then you do it like it was almost like every weekend or every other weekend on the weekend, because we'd run a points thing at ET Point Series, and they would take the top, depending on how many were in the class, they would take like the top 3 or 4 and send to what they call the ET Finals. They take the 3 or 4 bike guys, send them to ET Finals, the car classes, and then they would, Raceway Park, you'd represent them. You'd be on their team. This team Raceway Park versus team Edgewater or team Killcare or other tracks would have their riders or their drivers. And we would all, one weekend, go at it, and then they, after it was all over, it's like Super Bowl, what track would finish ahead of what other track. But the track would pay for your racing that weekend if you made the team. So I was fortunate, made the team twice, and had a great time, and just raced other people from other tracks, and it's pretty fun. And they, to this day, they still do that. You can enter a
because you were
ET Point Series.
I was gonna say, I knew you were in a series where, because you were traveling around, going to different tracks and stuff like that. And I know I always wanted to get out somewhere else besides just Indianapolis, but obviously that's where we're kind of based out of, so that's where we always went. And
the way everything is, economy-wise, it's hard. It's harder now than ever, just like everything else. I mean, it's expensive, and if, like say, you go to St. Louis, you can't sleep at the track. You got to get a hotel, and then the hotel fees, and then the track fee. It gets pretty expensive.
Oh yeah, well, especially nowadays. Everything's outrageous.
Everything.
Dear Lord. This morning, gas was somewhat affordable. Not this afternoon. Next thing you know, it's like, all right, it's only been one day. How is this gallon 75 cents more a gallon now than it was when I woke up this morning?
I know,
it's
makes
nuts.
Sense.
It's absolutely nuts. What do? You travel. Say you're going to go race. Were you guys racing out in Columbus, Ohio?
Yes, we raced in Columbus.
I thought you guys did. What happens when you go out there? You say you got a weekend planned. You're going to be in Columbus, Ohio. You packed up. You're out there. It starts raining Friday and it rains Saturday. What do you do?
Well, you stick it out, but then if they call the race, they'll usually give you a rain check for the next scheduled race on their program. And there's nothing you really can do. You just pack up and head home.
Because here's the thing. When I was traveling with Bubba Blackwell, every now and then you get a jump that gets rained out. You know what I mean? So you have a weekend where it gets rained out, and next thing you know, you're there. You've traveled out there, because I was the same way. I still worked a regular job, and then I got off work. I took off, either going all the way down to he was down by Gulf Shores, Alabama, back in those days. I'm driving all the way down there so I could hop in one of his trucks in a trailer and head to wherever we're going to go. Or sometimes I'm just meeting him. If he's got another driver already, then I'll just meet him where he's going. We get there, and then it gets rained out. Now here's the difference. For us, we can go out and we can go, we'll go bowling, we may even go out and have a few drinks, because we know it's going to rain tomorrow. We're not going to be able to do it tomorrow. You can't do that when you're going to be racing. Now he couldn't. Don't get me wrong. He was in the same boat you were in. And Bubba was not much of a partier anyway. He doesn't drink. He doesn't do any of that stuff anyway. But it was like, well, at least I could have a few beers if I wanted to and just kind of relax. I was just wondering what you guys do in a situation like that.
I'll tell you a quick funny story. St. Louis, we were there, me and my crew chief, Big T. You met Big T. We did everything we could to get there. We didn't have a bunch of money back then. We were saving, so we had a little bit of money left, and then we were like, you know what? So we went to the casino in St. Louis. Lo and behold, we hit a little jackpot. I think it was like $150, and that got us through the whole weekend. It got us back home. But it's just, when you're younger, you just fly by the seat of your pants. And to this day, we still joke about it. It's like, man, if we didn't hit on the slot machine, we've been in trouble. But yeah, we do things like that, if to try to get out and about to enjoy stuff. But like I said, I call it the good old days, because it's so expensive doing things this day and age. Even the racings went up, which they have to, I'm sure, because of their insurance and their everything.
Yeah, everything changes, and that's the problem. A lot of the insurance, a lot of that kind of stuff, liability. Dear Lord, liability anymore. They do the Miracle Ride in Indianapolis for Riley's Children's Hospital, and that was one of the cool things about that ride, was you got to take a lap around the famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway, you know.
Oh,
So right there where they race the Indy 500, you get to take a lap on your motorcycle. You know, that stuff's all gone now. They can't do that, and it's like, you know, they'd love to.
Right.
They hate that they can't do it, but liability nowadays, there's no way they can do that now.
Yeah.
And so, and a lot of that, and that's what happens, you know. So if they are going to do it, that price is going to go sky high in order for them to be able to cover their butts if something was to happen, you know. So yeah, that part, it's all very tough. You know, back in the day, you'd go get a hotel room for $30-$40.
Right.
That same hotel room's running you about $100. You know what I mean? If you're getting a decent one, you're spending closer to $200.
Correct.
It's very hard to find hotels, lodging, any of that stuff. It's just so expensive to do any of that kind of stuff now. No, I think it's super cool, the fact that you do race the old school motorcycle, and it's just, I don't know, I just wonder, as I get older, you know, now I'm a little older than you are, and I'm in my 60s now, and I always, you know, for me now, I'm that old guy that's going, I don't know what it's going to be like for my grandkids. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, oh, this world's gone to crap. I don't know what my grandkids are going to do, and it's just, so for me, I love being able to do that. I love being able to watch you guys race the old school motorcycles that I grew up with.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's super cool. And let me ask you this. Speaking of the younger generation, do you see much of the younger generation getting into the racing?
It's funny you brought that up. I got a friend of mine, we've been friends for years, and his name is Scott Edwards. He's into the real fast bikes. But his son, Eli, he was out the track. He would help out, check tire pressure, grab nitrous bottles, do anything. Well, over the winter, he has a Hayabusa now that they're putting him together, and he's going to be able to get out there and keep the sport going. And I was like, he put pictures on Facebook. I was like, congratulations, super good kid. He, you know, real polite, got his head on right, and you know, I just wanted to give him some props because that's the sport right there.
Right.
You know, I won't be able to do it much longer, and his dad's not doing it right now, but he's going to eventually get older, so that'd be nice. He's going to come up through the ranks, and he's surrounded by a bunch of good people that will steer him right, and he's going to have some good machine under him and good backing, and he's all for it, which is cool.
Oh yeah. When you're younger like that, if you can find something you really like to do, like you were saying, I like drag racing. Guess where I'm drag racing? I'm out here on US 31 on a Friday night and praying to God the cops are watching. But to be able to go somewhere and to be able to do that, and to me, I just think that's an awesome thing. And you're saying they still do it on Wednesday nights. Explain a little bit about that. How does that work on a Wednesday night? What time does it?
The track, I think the gates open at 5, and I think $35, and you go in, and all the bikes kind of park up in the corner by the staging lanes, and they'll call the cars out. They'll make their passes, and then they'll call bikes. You make your pass, and then come back, and it's just round robin. They just take turns, and it's like, I want to say 5 to 9, and you get in as many as you can, as many times down the track as you can. Gotcha. Usually it's real crowded. You only get maybe 2-3 passes, but still, it's legal. You're having fun, and you actually get a time slip, tells what your bike did and how fast, and then you can go again and try to make it better, or you know, it's just, and hopefully people get hooked on it and keep the sport going.
But it just makes all the sense. If you have a place like that that's saying, hey, we're going to open up the doors, you know, we're going to open our gates, you can come in here on a Wednesday, you can do this legally.
Correct.
I know they always had an ambulance there just in case of an accident. Because you know what it's like, and you know where I'm talking about, up there, up in Indy, out on the public streets, where they have a tendency to do some racing.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, and I'm not going to say I wouldn't do it, you know, when I was a kid, because I did stuff like that, but I was stupid enough. I used to bring I had an old Honda 554 back in the day, a 78, and I used to take it onto the dirt tracks and stuff, and I'm doing motocross stuff on a big old 550 street bike, 4-cylinder motor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we've all done our stupid stuff. I'm not saying anything about that, but when they open up a gate to where you can now do this legally, you can do this, and actually you'll have other people around there that can actually maybe even point you in a better direction. Maybe you got somebody that's been doing it for a while is going to say, hey, I noticed you doing this.
Right.
Not saying anything bad about what you're doing, but you may want to try this, or you may want to try that and see if that works for you. You know what I mean?
And funny you mentioned that. Me and Big T, we would go out there on Wednesday and try to help the new guys out. And we've helped a few out, but then you get the ones that are, I don't know, we want to call it testosterone or arrogance, whatever, but we're not there criticizing. We'll just, hey, I'll help you, whatever you need, and we helped a few people out. And like I said, I'm going to get Cindy out there, and she's going to have fun. And,
she needs to do it.
And just for that fact, she could say, I went down that track.
Exactly.
And I can't wait. It'll be fun. I mean, and like I said, you don't have to have the fastest bike going. You could, whatever you want to bring out there. They don't allow four-wheelers or stuff like that, but any kind of two-wheel motorcycle you can bring out there and go down the track.
That's
and no one's going to make fun of you if you go slow or whatever. It's just to have a good time. And
I think that's part of the problem, especially with guys. Our egos, right? We got too big of an ego. Like you said, you got the testosterone going. We got these egos. I don't want to have to ask somebody what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
I don't want to have to ask. I don't want to look like I don't know what I'm doing. I want to know exactly what I'm doing when I get there. And the fact is, everybody that's there for the first time, they don't have a clue to what they're doing.
Correct.
Everybody, every human being. John Force one day pulled up to a drag strip and is like, I don't even know what I'm doing here.
Exactly.
I mean,
and then too, it all the what I call parking lot racers, where they got a boost and they're telling everybody, hey, my boost runs 8-second quarter miles, and come on, just come out there, enjoy. But it's nothing about being, so to speak, cocky or arrogant. It's just help you out, help people out and get them into us. Hell, if we get one or two interested, did a good thing.
Yeah.
Because especially the younger guys, that's what makes me about Scott's boy Eli. I'm so happy he's getting into it, and he's got a lot. Like I said, he's got great engine builders behind him. His dad's behind him, and I watched him grow up from a little boy riding a scooter around there to now he's getting ready to get on a 1300 or maybe a little bit bigger Hayabusa, and
that's awesome.
And then do it, and that's cool.
Got to open the doors up to the younger ones, man. The next generation.
Get them off in video games.
We got to get them outside, get them doing stuff. I say it all the time, with what I do with Steel Horse, a lot of times we're doing a lot of charity rides and this and that. Well, the problem is there's hardly ever any younger people on these charity rides. It's like, I get out there and I'm looking around the parking lot. Everybody's looks just like this, right? We're all old.
Right.
I'm like, what are we going to do 10 years from now? 20 years from now? I mean, now legit, 20 years from now, there's a good chance I won't be doing charity rides. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
20 years from now, I'll be 82 years old. I pray to God that I'm still healthy enough and strong enough to be out riding.
Right.
Probably still be riding the same 2000 Road King, but I hope that I can still do it. But I'm not dumb. I also know that there's a good chance by the time I'm 82, I might still physically be able to do it, but I may mentally be going, I don't think I should be doing this anymore. And so it's like, who's going to take our place?
Right.
Or 20 years from now, there'll never be another charity ride because
no one stepped up.
And when the younger ones showed up and they were on crotch rockets, you had all the Harley guys going, oh, we don't want that damn crotch rocket around here. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, you better accept it. You better accept that. I've had to get used to listening to hip hop when people ride in on their motorcycles, okay? Now, in my day, if you weren't listening to Allman Brothers or, Led Zeppelin, that was the music. And if you were a Harley rider, that's all you ever listened to. You had that Southern rock, that classic rock, and now, dear Lord, and God forbid if there's no such thing as loud pipes anymore. Now it's loud radios, it's loud stereos, and people come in and I'm listening to hip hop, I'm listening to rap, and I'm like, when the hell did I get this old? It's like, I don't know what happened. I went to sleep one night and nobody's listening to Molly Hatchet. They don't even know who Molly Hatchet is anymore. And it's like, what happened? But that's the problem. I mean, we've got to accept all that and say, no, that's the kind of music you like? You're wrong, but go ahead. Keep listening to it and come on out. We've got to open up the doors for the younger generation and figure out ways to get the younger generation involved. Like you said, instead of being in the house playing video games or sitting on your phone,
right,
doing something. Doing something.
Yep.
Now, I want to change gears here for just a minute.
Sure.
Because you went through something very serious, a very serious thing. You know, you spent a lot of your life racing and, you know, defying death. Some would say chasing death. Some would say defying death. Some would say, you know, but I believe it was 2016.
Correct.
You had a major health incident. And before we even get started, I just want to say, we're not doctors. We're not giving medical advice or telling you or anything medically here. This is your story. This
Correct.
is what you lived through. Because not everybody can say they lived through what you went through.
That's true.
Very few people can say, I lived through it. In fact, Wes, you're going to look that up, man. You ought to find out how many people. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, it's.
Tell your story.
Okay, my story on. It was May. I guess it was May 15th. Me and my fiance at the time, we took the Hayabusa out. We went downtown, had an early dinner, feeling fine. Come home from the early dinner, spent some time with her. At the time, she lived in Columbus, and I was on the south side of Indy. And we spent some time together, and she was getting ready to go home, and I told her, I said, man, I don't feel right. She goes, yeah. To this day, it's kind of a joke. She'll be like, yeah, suck it up. You know, she thought it was me not wanting her to go home, which I didn't want her to go home anyway, but no, I felt weird. And as the night progressed, I was like, something's going on. I don't know. My left arm was feeling weird, in and out of the bathroom, you know, cold sweat. I didn't know. So she rushed me took me to St. Francis emergency room. Well, I went in there and walked in there, and the lady in the desk said, I told her what was going on, so right away they checked the EKG and all that, and they go, how'd you get in here? And I said, I walked. She said, oh my God, and rushed me back there. Meanwhile, I didn't know what was going on. I had no clue. So I'm in the emergency room, at the room there, and there's a doctor in a lab coat with his arms crossed, and they got me all hooked up to this machine, and he gave me one of them nitroglycerin pills under my tongue. He said, this is either going to be good or it's going to be bad. And he's standing there with his arms folded just watching this machine, and I'm laying there like, man, what's going on? I mean, I just want to go home, go to bed, and you
Right.
know. Well, come to find out, it was bad. All my arteries were shutting down. I had one that was open like 5%. So all I've compared to is a NASCAR pit crew. Nurses come in, they got under the gown, they shaved me down there. I didn't know what was going on. Here I am, you know, not knowing much of anything. Next thing I know, I'm going down to the calf, what they call a calf lab, and there's a nun, older lady nun, walking with me. And by that time, the medicine was starting to kick in, and I asked her, I said, are we going to dinner? Are we, me and you, going to dinner? And she smiled, and you know, and next thing you know, I was in open heart surgery, and I woke up in intensive care with a tube hanging out of my mouth, and I had 5 arteries shut down. They took a vein out of my leg, made me some new arteries, put my heart back in my chest, zippered it up, and to this day, you know, if it wasn't for my wife, she's my wife now, and God, I probably wouldn't be here. But all the glory goes to Him, and I'm here for some reason. But I'm gonna live every day. My heart's still not pumping like a normal person's, but I'm gonna keep going. I mean, keep going, doing what I do, and just
So
have at it.
I know people that have had open heart surgery before, and I know people that have had bypass surgery. You know, and you hear people say, man, it was a double bypass. Oh, it was a triple bypass. This is bad.
I went all the way.
Quintuplet? I mean, what is 5? Dear
5.
Lord. How many arteries are
I think
going
that's
in
it. I think there's 5. It might be 4. I don't know. I didn't want to. They wanted to tell me what they did, and I'm like, you know, I don't want to.
Wow.
I'm good, you know. But yeah, and it was kind of, you could blame. I say fate had a lot to do with it too, because if my fiance would have went home, I would have passed away in my house.
Right.
So I think God had a hand. I know He had a hand in everything, but that's how close it was. And then when I got out and walked in, I guess a car, from what they told me, a car pulled in behind us, and he didn't make it out of his car. And it's just like, you hear these stories, and it's like, whoa. So you just got to kick back and thank the man up above, and and just try to be joyful every day, even though life, brings you down. You got to try to keep going and keep motivated, and yeah. So I'm thankful.
I say it all the time. You got to find the silver lining in everything. 2020, horrible year. Horrible year. That's all you can say. Horrible year. Whether you agree with all the stuff they put you through, whatever, that's neither here nor there.
Right.
2020, horrible year. But you know what happened during 2020 in my life? In 2020, I turned my damn TV off. I got so sick and tired of hearing all the garbage and all the negative. I turned my TV off. I got on YouTube and I learned how to garden. And I dug up some of my yard, and by God, I planted a garden. Never grew a garden ever in my life. I decided, all right, we can't go anywhere, we can't do anything. That's why my beard's so big, that's why my hair grew out. I was like, fine, I just won't ever touch my hair ever again. Haven't had a haircut since. But I built a little privacy area in our backyard where I now, and it's my little, I call it the Garden of Cindy instead of the Garden of Eden. It's like the Garden of Cindy. It's our little oasis, and we learned. And now every year since then, I've been growing. I grow my own potatoes, my own sweet potatoes. We make our own salsas and our own, ketchup and all that, the pasta sauce, and I do peppers and everything. In fact, if you look over my shoulder, those are peppers that I overwinter every year. Those are my 2 prize bushes right there. That's awesome. Why they're back here right now, overwintering. They're about ready to go back outside. But yeah, I got into gardening, and so it's like,
made a positive out of a negative.
It was everything with that took place in 2020 was horrible, and so therefore I was like, all right, let's do something different about it.
Right.
I had Thanksgiving was never one of my favorite holidays, simply for this reason. We all get together at Cameraman Wes's house for Thanksgiving, right? Now, Wes and his wife always had to go to work because they started doing Black Friday shopping on Thanksgiving instead of Friday. They had to go to work. Cindy and my daughter went shopping. I went home and sat by myself on Thanksgiving. I'd have a couple hours of eating a meal, and then I'm sitting at home doing nothing. 2020, we all got together. Nothing was opened. Everything closed.
Right.
And it was like, we got done eating dinner. We sat around. We had a few beers. We told stories. We laughed and laughed and laughed all evening long. And it was like, there were some good things that did come out of 2020. It was, you got to look for them, but you got to find that silver lining.
Correct.
You went through something that was horrible, and I pray nobody has to go through that. Yeah. But you managed to look and stay positive.
Yes.
How long, what's the recovery like on something like that? And when do you get to the point where you're not afraid to be alone?
Well, being a heart is a muscle, and all your other limbs rejuvenate or can go, but being a heart is a muscle. They say it won't recover. Once a muscle's damaged, it will not rejuvenate or come back like it was. But that's not saying it won't. Like I said, the man works miracles.
Oh yeah.
They could test me one day, and like I said, my what they call ejection fraction number from how much your heart squirts out the blood was like 25%. A normal person or one with no issues, maybe like yourself, 65, 70% ejection fraction. Well, when it gets below 25, it's congestive heart failure. It could, I've been on the new medicine Entresto, you see it on TV, and the last time I was checked was about 2 years ago, and it come up to 35. So it has improved. Now, in order to find out if it improved, you got to go for an ultrasound, and if your insurance don't pay for it, it's like $3,300, right. And it's like, you don't know.
Right.
But the way I look at it, I just keep going. Yes, you can prevent stuff, but when it's your time, it's your time. And they wanted to put a defibrillator in me, and I was like, no. They said, it's your call. You're on the fence. All it is an onboard shocker thing. It'll be under the skin.
Okay.
It don't go to your heart or to the wires to your heart. It just goes under your skin. If it goes out of rhythm, it'll zap you back.
Gotcha.
It's basically you carrying around an onboard thing.
Right.
And at first I was like, okay. And then insurance complications, so I'm like, you know what? That's fine. Mm-hmm. I don't need nothing tucked in my skin. Let's just.
Wes, were you able to find out?
I did.
How many people die from heart attacks, or?
So, massive heart attacks, it shows present 40 to 50% of those massive heart attacks do present as fatal. But surviving a massive heart attack actually now is between 90 to 97%. So survivors are more common now. Mm-hmm. But your quintuple bypass surgery is one of the most complicated bypass surgeries that they do.
Quintuple, that shouldn't even be a word.
Don't even. And what's, like I said, when I went to my surgeon for a follow-up, my wife made me, you ask him if you could drag race it. I'll support you 100%, as long as it's okay by him. So I showed him a video of a drag race with me in drag racing, and he looked at her and said, if he feels like it, he can do it. And her jaw just maybe hit the ground, but she said, okay, I support you 100%. But now I'm not going to lie to you. That's why I've been set back a little on my racing, because it does take a toll on you. I'm not going to lie. Mm-hmm. I get winded, I get tired, but here again, I keep working. I get up at 10 till 5. I work 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. And come Saturday morning, I sleep in a little bit. And then all my buddies are like, man, why are you sleeping in? Well, you didn't have a whatever, quadruple, was that what it was? Quad whatever.
No,
yeah.
Quintuple.
You didn't have that done.
Quintuple.
If you've only felt, and sometimes they just, I don't know if they overlook it or don't understand how severe it was.
Right.
And like my poor dad, he's not almost 90 years old, and he's like, so we're going to do stents. And the surgeon said, we're way beyond stents. It's like now or he's not going to be here no more. Basically, my poor dad, he didn't know. Mm-hmm. So it was like, hurry, let's go. It's do now or never. Mm. And that's how fast it was. And it was a blur once it happened. But
so what was it like the first time you decided, you've recovered enough to where you feel healthy enough? And that's the problem with something like that. Had you busted your arm up or leg up or something like that, you know what I mean? You have a cast. You have something that's visible. You can see it. That's the problem with mental health. A lot of people look completely healthy, completely everything. Same thing with the heart. Now everybody's seeing you and they're, oh no, he's up, he's out and about. Right. He's doing everything he ever did. He's fine now. Yeah. But what was it like for you the first time you decided, all right, I'm going to do this? I mean, was there ever a thought in your mind where it's like, all right, I've been given a second chance. Now am I tempting fate by doing this? Or was I given a second chance and now I want to live my life to the fullest even more now than I did before?
It's kind of I think a catch-22 after it happened. A lot of emotions. You find yourself, and I'm going to be straight up honest, I'm a man, you're a man. You find yourself sometimes tearing up emotionally. Mm-hmm. You find yourself, why am I shouldn't even, I'm glad I'm here. You do. It plays with your emotions, and yes, I'm thankful. And I think that's why on the racing end of it, I'm not as far as go-getting like I was. I mean, it's there if I want to do it, but it kind of is like a wake-up call. I mean, not that I'm scared to do it. It's just like, man, I come that close to the, to the end, and I don't know why I'm still here, but
right.
It's constant emotions, constant. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I find myself more emotional about when I think of stuff like that. Like I said, when I got back on the bike for the first time after it, I'm not gonna lie, in that helmet were some tears. Right. It's like but once, like I said, once you go down through, it's like, yeah, let's go. It fires you back up to do it again. But you just, like I said, you try not to let it get you. But it does. Yeah. There's many times I'll be doing something, I'll have to sit down or I'll have to, but it's nature of the beast. But I'm not going to give up.
Yeah, well, I just know working with Bubba Blackwell, that's how me and Bubba got to be such good friends. See, Bubba, when he had his bad crash out in Del Mar, he should have died. Same thing, he wasn't supposed to live. There was a team of ministers that came up and prayed for him, and that's when his vitals all came back and everything. Cool. Amazing story. But, and then he wasn't, he stopped, you know, he was breaking all of Evil Knievel's records and all that. He was out to break his own record that time. It wasn't even Evil Knievel's record. He already broke it. Now he was getting ready to break his own. And, you know, he kind of took it for granted, he'll tell you, because he had just done a jump. The last jump was bigger than this one. But he was, you know, and it didn't work. You know what I'm saying? He came up way short. You know, had all sorts of head injuries and lungs were both, you know, collapsed and done. I mean, he was a mess. So when he survived, he was doing stunt shows. That was when Buell motorcycles were really big, and he became a factory rider for Buell. And so he was the American factory rider for Buell, and he was out doing stunt shows. That's how I got to meet him. We got talking. He knew I was a minister. We were talking, and he was telling me his story and all that. And then I think it was a year or two later when Harley was doing their 100th anniversary, right? Mm-hmm. So in 03, they're doing the 100th anniversary. Well, they get in touch with Bubba Blackwell. Hey, we'd love to have you do a jump. You ever thought about doing a comeback jump? Hadn't done a jump since the bad crash. Doing stunt riding, but had not done a jump. And he struggled with that decision to say yes or no. And he was asking me, and he would come to me a lot. And me and him would talk a lot about that. Right. And that was his whole thing. I don't want to tempt fate, but yet I also believe this is the talent God gave me. And I believe this is a way I can honor the Lord by doing what He's gifted me to do. And he did. He had a real hard struggle with that. Oh, yeah. And he had to, you know, me and him would pray together about it all the time. And, you know, and it was kind of my whole thing is, unless you truly hear inside your spirit saying, don't do it. You know what I mean? Right. If you hear that, don't do it. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, he finally did his comeback jump, and he ended up doing jumps for the next, gosh, I don't know, 10 years, 15 years. Yeah. But I often wonder, you know, when you know you've been given a second chance. Correct. You know what I mean? You don't take it, because I know you have a strong faith, and I know I've been given a second chance. And so I was just wondering if you had to struggle with that yourself, or
you struggle with it. And what's come about it on the positive note is you're not as high strung. Like before, I still worry, but not like I used to. Now it's like, hey, something happens, okay, it'll be all right. Or, you know, I try to. Mm-hmm. Other people might disagree, but I mean, I would worry sick about things, and I still do occasionally, but not like it was. Yeah. And you thankful more than anything. You're real. It's a big wake up call. It really is.
Oh, I would imagine.
I mean, it's just, and I'm every day I'm blessed, and even when I got your text, I was like, wow, that was cool. It made me feel good, just to come on here and do something about something I love. I grew up since I was 8 years old, messing with motorcycles, and still into it, and you know, I'm just, it's a good thing.
Well, as soon as Cindy was talking about, you know, some of her adventures on motorcycles and everything else, and that was the one thing she brought up. Well, and I know I always wanted to run it down the strip, she said, and I never did get a chance to do that. And immediately I had my pad of paper and I'm writing down over here, and I'm like, keep talking, I'm listening, you know. And that's what I told her. I said, as soon as you said that, it was like, Shakee, we have to have Shakee on this podcast for sure. Yeah. So that's why I'm so glad you were able to do it.
Oh yeah, anytime.
I can't end this tonight without asking you, how did you get your name Shakee? I'm sure there's people that have been listening now for, I don't know how long we've been going now, for probably a good hour or so here, and people are probably wondering, why is he calling him Shakee? I mean, do you want to give your full name?
My name is Kirk Nisley, but like I said, I'm known everywhere by Shakee, and all it is a nerve thing. I inherited from my father and his mom. It's I don't know if it's any diagnosis for it or anything, but I just shake, and I adopted it. People sometimes think it offends me. It don't, not at all. The only thing I worry about sometimes is like if I'm not a big drinker, but when I do have a beer, if it's a glass bottle, I gotta be careful I don't chip my tooth because I would get that. I get it going. And they may get a kick out of it, and I just adopted it, and I just like to make people laugh.
That's the group of friends. You know, you got the right group of friends.
Oh yeah.
When because of your condition, you chip a tooth on a beer bottle, and they're like,
or they'll hand me a can of spray paint. Say, here, shake this up for it. Okay, you know or they'll work on the bike. Like buddy, my Mike Heckard hairball, he'll be working on a bike and. He'll ask for a razor blade, and he'll like, whoa, set that down. You know, I'm going to hand it to him, and he's like, no, set it down. You'll cut me up or something. But I mean, it's all in good humor, and you know, this day and age, I enjoy making people laugh or try to. I mean, my mother-in-law, she falls for a lot of stuff, and she's going to get me one day. But I tease her and get her going on so much stuff, and it's just basically to lighten the mood. And laughter's so much better than. You know, the grumpiness and the, you know, stuff. It's bad enough the world's, you know, on edge. So you got to laugh and be happy and enjoy life.
Exactly.
And that's,
dude, I couldn't even remember your last name. I honestly couldn't. It's like I've called you Shakee now for years, you know?
Yep.
And it's just like, gosh, I don't even know what his last name is.
A lot of people don't, but that's fine. However, I'll answer to it. You know, Shakee, what? Did you name a adopted raccoon or something after me? I feel honored. I feel honored in that.
Yeah, we're not going to say we, you know, rescued a baby raccoon from the wild and took care of him, even though even though forest rangers would tell you you're not allowed to do that and you can go to jail for it and
you didn't want it to
all
die.
that. So no, we would never have done anything like that. But yeah, we kind of did, and yeah, we did name him Shakee.
Well, that's cool. I like that. I wish I got to meet him.
It was that same thing. Yeah, unfortunately, he did not have the blessing you had. So unfortunately, it was his demise. But yeah, he was a little tiny thing. We were taking him with us when we were filming because we couldn't leave him alone.
Right.
And we would have him in a box, and poor Cindy, she'd be up there feeding it with a milk bottle and everything else. And they were like, "Hey, we really got to film. The motorcycles are leaving in 30 minutes. We got to get to it."
Was it shaking when it looked at you? Did it shake?
Oh, he shook all the time.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
the whole time. He just sat there and shake. Cool. When he would walk, he would wobble because.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Got his name legit.
Yes, we did name him Shakee. Yes, we did.
Oh, good. I won't forget that. At least something was named after me.
That's too funny.
It's awesome.
So, you're not necessarily racing. You said it's been a couple of years now since you've been on the track.
Yeah, and let me touch real lightly on that. That's kind of like here again talking about fate. Was at Muncie Dragway, was up at the burnout box, heating the tire up, getting ready to go, and I heard a noise coming from the bike. And I guess my experience, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I knew something wasn't right. Me and that bike been together forever.
Right.
And it was something wasn't right. So I turned it off and I backed out of the burnout box and I went back to the pits. Well, I didn't race it no more and took it home, tore it apart. And if I would have went down that track, it liable would have been a serious incident because number 3 rod bearing was getting ready to come out of the motor, and at over 100 mile an hour, if it spits a rod out the motor, it'll lock the tire up, and then who knows. So I got lucky. I don't know if you call it luck, fate, what, but I'll take it. You know, didn't get hurt. The bike didn't get exploded. It was able to be fixed, and since then it's been fixed, and it's sitting on the lift, ready to go. The leathers are in the bag, ready to go. It's just the riders, you know, I don't know. Sometimes them leathers shrink when they sit around a while.
Isn't that something?
That's cheap leather or something. I don't know. They get tight. But
dude, I'm at the age now. I just went to the doctor. I'm 10 pounds lighter than I was last year when I went to the doctor, and my clothes are all bigger. It's like, how the hell does that happen? I've lost 10 pounds, and yet I have to wear another size bigger shirt now because my belly has gotten so big and everything. It's like, so I've lost weight, but it all just kind of, I don't know what happened.
It all went to one spot.
I guess. I don't know what happened.
I'm there too.
nothing worse than being proud that you lost 10 pounds, but then still have to keep buying bigger clothes because nothing's fitting you. It's like,
have to get the maternity pants to go to the buffet, the stretch pants in the front.
Dude, I'm at that age now. I can get away with that crap. I can do whatever I want anymore. That's the one nice thing about getting old, and my hair finally turning gray and all that. Oh yeah, I can get away with all sorts of stuff anymore. It's awesome. I do like that part about being old. It's about the only part I like. But so, any future plans? What do you think? You know what I'm thinking, and I'm just throwing this out there.
I'm sitting down.
I'm thinking there may be a time coming where there may be Shakee School of Racing or something like that.
I would love that, and I really would. And it would take. We tried to get something like that going. I don't know how you go about it. Now they do have drag racing schools in other states. I know Ricky Gadsden puts one on, and I think there's some more famous drag racers that put them on. And you know, that would be neat to get something like that going. Jay with A-Bait, I mean, we talked about it before, I'm pretty sure. And I'd be, if we find a way to structure it and get it going, that would be cool. But I mean, it's hard to get something going like that.
It is. Again, we're right back to the whole liability issue.
Correct.
We're back to the money issue and all that kind of stuff. It's just you've had such a story to tell through your racing, through your surviving, you know, a massive heart attack, through your faith that got you going, that kept you back up, you know, got you back on your feet again and got you moving, and then racing again, being able to do all that. You got a lot to tell. You have a great story to tell. And you got 2 badass trophies you get to take with you wherever you go to talk too.
Yeah, exactly. And there's people that race their whole life and not fortunate to get one. I mean, I got this one on luck, but hey, I'll take it.
Right.
You know, and that's just how I'm sure there's John Ford, Antron, I'm sure they be lucky and good any day on stuff. But
I was gonna say, you haven't seen a racer yet that hasn't won without just dumb luck.
Fortunate. You're in the right place, right time, and it was kind of.
Because there's also times you've lost because of somebody else got the dumb luck.
Correct.
You know
or
what I mean?
Something stupid happens. I mean, kill switch falls out, bike dies.
Yeah.
You know, $5 kill switch. It's like, oh man, that just cost it. But it happens to everybody, you know. But to answer your question, I've been fortunate, and everything that's happened since my heart attack is just the man upstairs working miracles. I mean, just like my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, basically, and she took care of me in the hospital, and I was like, wow, she's a keeper. I mean, anybody and she's a good-hearted girl, come from good family values, and we just get along, and it's just everything just, you know, been fine, and I got everything to thank the man upstairs. He's in charge, and
when the Bible says He'll direct your path, you know what I mean? He truly does.
He brought me right here tonight.
He put everything in path for you to be able to survive. And that's what people are like, well, how would God let that happen anyway? I mean, there's, and this is what I say all the time. Once you get through what you're going through, you're generally stronger and you're generally smarter, and then you get to go back and help somebody else that has to go through that same thing. Because the Bible's very clear to say it rains on the just and the unjust alike, right? Just because I've seen bad things happen to good people, and I've seen good things happen to bad people. That's called life. That's called the world we live in. You know what I mean?
And like I said, you just got to help everybody you can, and try to keep positive attitude. And times are tough, and like I said, I'd do anything for anybody, especially you and Cindy. I'd do anything, help with anything you want around motorcycles. That's been my whole life. I've been there, done that, and I want to keep on. I don't want to push it out. You know, I want to. That was my life.
But we have to get a Wednesday where we can get Cindy down there with her bike. Like I said, I'll be honest, I wouldn't mind doing it myself. Just like you said, you know, I can say I've taken a lap around the Indy 500.
Yep,
you know what I'm saying?
I did.
So, you know, I did that, you know, year after year after year on the Miracle Ride. And so it's like, I can say that. I've rode on the same track. I would love to be able to do that. Now again, I'll probably be doing 60 by the time I get to the other end. But I'm going to have a smile on my face, and my cigar will still be lit while I'm going.
Just the thought of giving it what it can take and not worrying about lights behind you, and then have a good time. And that's awesome. We'll definitely, we talked about it for years. We got to make it happen.
Got to make it happen this year.
On my end's kind of flexible. We've got to make sure you guys are good, but that'd be awesome.
It's right now our schedule is so messed up anyway. You know, with parents and stuff.
Yeah.
But I do know I know that we can make a Wednesday night work. I know we can. We can get up there.
And I'm a phone call away. You say, hey, and I'll be there.
And I want her to do that. I mean, I would like to do it. Like I said, and I have no intentions, dude. I got a 24-year-old motorcycle with 170,000 miles on it. I can't afford to fix it or buy a new one. So,
well, Crambos would love to have you break it. They could fix it for you.
Yes, he would be thrilled if I would go out there and blow that motor up. But and it's not even the motor, because I did have the motor rebuilt at 123,000, I think, which I was told by Harley Davidson that it was actually a waste of money. That was the cleanest motor they'd ever seen with that many miles on it.
Oh, wow.
Gave all the credit to their new synthetic oil. And I was like, hold up a second. They're like, no. I said, dude, that motorcycle's never had synthetic drop of anything.
Really?
In it. I've used nothing but conventional 2050 oil in it. And they're like, that's impossible. And they said, what did you do different? I said, I changed my oil and filter every 2,500 miles. Your book tells us to do it every 5,000. When I bought that Harley, the mechanic that I bought it, the mechanic that was standing there said, do yourself a big favor. Change the motor oil and filter every 2,500 miles. You can do the primary, you can do your tranny every 5,000 like the book says. But your motor oil and filter, change it every 2,500. And I did that religiously.
There you go.
And that's what I told him. I said, there's 124,000 miles out of it, and that stator still came out in one piece and everything else. Cool. I mean, they were like, we just never seen anything like this before.
Yep, got to take care of it.
So I've taken care of it, but again now, you look at that motorcycle, that transmission does have 170,000 miles on it, you know what I mean? The primary, it's got 170,000. So the motor's the only thing that had anything done to it. So, but I do want to take it down the track, and I'm at the age now where I don't have to be the cool guy that's gonna blow everybody's doors off. I can do it. Like I said, I'll be grinning ear to ear. I'll come back and go, hell yeah, thank you so much for letting me do this. Whereas Cindy, on the other hand, she's going to go once, and then she's going to go, no, I can do better than that. And she's going to go a second time if she gets a chance.
Oh, yeah.
And if there's still time, she's going to go a third time. You know what I mean? That's Cindy.
Pretty much get her down there twice, depending on the crowd.
Yeah.
But that's going to be fun. That's going to be awesome. We'll go right up to the starting line. Wes, take the camera right up there. Me and you can be right up there, right with her.
Right.
And then watch her go.
Yeah.
Just tell her, just shift the gears on your shift points on your, when it revs up. And then keep going to the end, and then let off of it, turn around, come back.
Yeah.
And it'll be great. It'll be a good time. It'll be fun.
It will be. And Wes, you talking about Wes, bringing the camera out there. Wes, you got a chance to film out there.
I did.
What was that like?
I didn't know what to expect, because you never know if you're going to be able to be like on the line where they're all taking off, or you got to be so many feet away or whatever. And they let me have free reign of the place. I was right next to the bikes and the cars when they were taking off. It was, some of it was a little scary when you're sitting next to a huge car that's revving up and getting ready to go down the track at 180 miles an hour. But it was probably the coolest day of shooting for maybe like adrenaline. It was pretty awesome.
It was.
We do so many charity rides and everything else, and I'm very thankful that we do that. That's why we do the show. It's the ministry part of the show for us. But man, when you get to do something cool like that, where he's able to get out there and film right there. We've done some of the flat track racing.
Yep.
Where he's able to get right there on the track and be able to do some filming and stuff like that. It is fun when you get to do something that you don't normally get to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, that's for us because we don't get out there like you do. So therefore, it's still like, oh my God, this is really where we're at. Every Labor Day weekend, all the biggest names that have ever lived are right here in this place. So yeah, that's still pretty cool for us.
Yeah, it really is. Anything, And to, like you said, even the kids, even the younger kids, if get them, you might have a little guy looking at that. I want to do that one day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the next thing you know, he's the next professional racer, or be a biker, car, or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what, when I was involved with the Miracle Ride stuff, which I thought was so nice, we would go up in the hospital and visit the kids up there. And I took my motorcycle helmet up there, and it's got a mohawk on the top of it. And in this one room, I teared up there too. I mean, it's a little boy in there. He just wanted to see my helmet. And if I asked the parents, okay, and they're like, yeah, no problem. He just loved to hold on to my motorcycle helmet, and a little young boy. And it was just like, wow. You know, here, no care in the world. I mean, no worries in the world, and yet there's, you know, something wrong with him. And all he wants to do is hold a motorcycle helmet. And it's like, wow. You know, that place will get to you, but still, I you know, feel heartbroken for the little ones and try to do anything you can to help them. And that's why I enjoyed the Miracle Ride stuff. And I did some stuff with them, and kind of sad that, you know, Mike Fairball and then now Ryan, that took a lot out of me when I seen about Ryan. So
losing both of them, that's
and that was how I got involved with Lucas Oil. Mike was at a Harley event. I can't remember what Harley dealership, and he asked me. I told him I race drag race Suzuki, and he said, "What kind of oil you use?" And I told him. He said, "How about I give you some Lucas Oil and you try that out?" And I thought he would, you know, yeah, right. Well, that next Monday or Tuesday, Lucas Oil van pulled in my driveway and gave me some Lucas Oil, and it went from there. And it's a great product. And when Mike got out of it, and then Ryan kept on, and good family and mom, all of them nice people, and it just, you know, that's how that started. And it's just, here again, it's weird and funny how the world is, but I mean, hats off to them. They're good people. I hated to hear about that, and it just, I don't know, it's just, but we'll see him again. We'll see him again.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap things up here. But before I do, again, you are a racer. So every racer has people they want to thank and has people they want to shout out and everything else. So before we get off here, Wes, do you have any other questions or anything you wanted to ask?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right, well, we'll wrap it up here, and Shakee, I want to thank you so much for coming out here tonight to the cafe, and I'm going to give you the floor.
Okay.
You can thank whoever you want to thank at this point.
All right, well, you got to start with number one. That'd be my wife. Thank her for everything she does and has my back, and we're just a super woman. I got lucky, thank the Lord above. She brought us together. And then Big T, my crew chief, my buddy, my go-to all when things needed, or he's there and has your back. And my buddy Donnie Emerson, he's old timer like me. He's old school. Donnie, he still does it. He helps me do some engine work, and we get along. And then there's so many people to thank, and I'm just thankful that the way everything come about and the way things are, and I'm here if anybody has any questions or needs anything, I'll help them. I mean, get a hold of me through Scott, I'm sure I'll be at events with Scott over the summer. We seem to get together at bike stuff all summer long, but yeah, that's the biggest thing. And one more, I'm leaving the best one out. Thank God above for keeping me here and being able to do this. I don't want to get emotional, but hey, I'm still here. Let's keep going.
Right.
Let's go. Let's, and get Cindy out the track. That's going to be one of my goals now. It has been for a while. We're going to get her. Problem is, she'll be hooked, and then I guess Scott will be taking her to the track.
Costing me a lot of money and everything else, probably. But that's all right. That's all right. Because if anybody deserves it, she deserves it.
Yeah.
The woman is an angel. She truly is. She was truly sent by God to me. No questions about that.
And that also.
And that was, we're coming up on 39 years. Woo. So, yeah.
There you go.
So I agree 100% with you there.
It's great when you get the one you love and then they got your back, and it's awesome. Awesome feeling. And
Yeah. Oh, it took me 2 tries. Don't get me wrong.
it took me one.
No, it took me two tries. I had a wrong one first. I had the wrong wife, and then I got the right wife. So.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
me too. So.
Yeah, and the right one is much better.
I agree. My side too.
Shakee, thank you so much for coming
Thank
out
you.
here, brother.
Appreciate
Man, it's
it.
been nice being able to sit here and talk
Yes.
and reminisce. And again, you are a walking miracle. And you know, I've always said if you really want to honor God with your life, because people used to ask me that all the time in the church, how do I honor God with my life? And I always said, live your life to the fullest.
Good. That's good philosophy.
You're given the gift of life. Live it to the fullest, and
Correct.
that's what you've been doing, and that's what I love about you, brother.
And well,
that's what
thank
I love
you. I
about
appreciate it, and I appreciate you and Wes and Opportunity and Cindy and Lemmer, and you guys have been great. All you do for everybody, keeping it going, even with the Steel Thunder, keeping it going, and we're just gonna have to keep it going. That's all we can do. This summer we'll have some good events.
Yep.
Help out with those. And
Yes, we
see
will.
you out and around, and it's been a pleasure.
All right, man.
Appreciate it.
I really appreciate you gifting us this nice trophy that we get to keep here now.
And,
That's
and
really
as far
awesome.
as I feel out of place because I don't have a beard, but hey, if this stuff works on what'd you say, your pubes, you never know. We might have, hey, hey, you never know. It might do something. But I probably have the same problem you do. I probably couldn't find nothing anyways. But it's been fun. It's been good.
It has.
And anything you need, I'm there for you. Just phone call me. And
Right on.
if you get any more animals named after me, let me know. I'd like to see them.
We will do it, man.
All right.
All right, man. Have a great evening.
Yep, you too. Thank you. Thanks, Wes.